I've already learned several things out of this book. I met Brad Williams at WordCamp, so we were hanging out with Brad. He was rooming with Dre on Friday. So really nice guy. This is an excellent book. So I highly recommend picking this up. Thanks. All right. We have lots of stuff to cover tonight. So for those of you who have not been to Developer Day, this is much looser than our general meetups. I'm seeing a couple of new faces. So let's start. Hey, Richie, how are you? Just so we all know each other, let's start like we usually do with intros. I'm just going to go around the room really quick. Name and what you're doing with WordPress. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Steve Zengitz. My company's called Seek Interactive. We're WordPress developers. So I'm going to start over here.
Afternoon, everybody. My name's Dave Cole. Twitter, Hey Dave Cole, and I'm a thorn in Steve's side. Yay!
Hi, I'm Jen Peterba, and my company builds WordPress sites for some of our clients.
Hi, I'm Kelly, and I manage Steve.
Thorn in
his side. Did you hear that? I heard like good luck whispered under Brad.
Like I didn't know that already.
I'm Jason Tucker. I'm streaming live. If you go over to our new website, ocwp.org.
Nice.
/live. That's where our stream is going. So if you want to tweet that out and send it out there.
The hashtag for this meeting is OCWP. Hashtag OCWP. So feel free to do that.
I'm Ross Teasley. I have been accused of doing awesome count. But yeah, I do a little bit of WordPress development.
Jeff Hester. I actually run a number of sites on WordPress, and I also do some WordPress development.
Very nice. Oh, he's got my tablet. He brought it. Go ahead. Oh, thank you. That's cool.
My name is Rashid. I'm a student, and I'm here to learn WordPress.
Cool.
My name is Bob. I'm new to the business. It's pretending to be a developer.
Excellent.
I'm Suzanne. I do a lot of WordPress sites, and I'm trying to learn plugin development.
There you go.
I have it. It's great.
Good.
It's
Excellent.
awesome.
Me?
Yeah.
Scott Shang. I am a WordPress tinker and probably way over my head, but the water's fine. Personally.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Kathy. Tinker's a good word. That's what I am too. I'm Priscilla Christian, and I tinker with WordPress as well.
Brandon Dove from Pixelgar. I probably use the word awesome a lot.
Market.
There's trade notes. And then we build lots and lots of WordPress sites and plugins.
I'm Sarah Weehold, new in town from New York City.
Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. Attempting to maneuver my way out of the music business by way of the internet. So I'm here for self-taught on all this stuff, and that's not really working for me. So I'm ready to.
Excellent.
I'm Jeffrey Zinn. I work with Brandon at Pixelgar. I'm the man that's behind Brandon's genius.
I thought it was the other way around. Awesome.
And Jeff, just a suggestion, you might want to pick up your own phrase,
I was going to
awesome.
I would say that I use awesome first.
Oh, wow. It's an awesome challenge.
That's awesome.
Awesome smackdown.
Awesome down.
No, it's just I was born first and I came out. I'm sure I said awesome first. I'm not saying you don't use it awesomely. It's just
So we digress.
I'm Dave. I'm a web developer, and I dabble.
Yo.
What up? My name is Alex Vasquez, and I have a business doing internet marketing and web development, and we've been using WordPress for a couple of years, and if there's an infant touching my computer, I will wrestle it to the ground. They suck.
Rule 4.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great.
I'm Greg Franklin, I'm a web developer.
And he has the best hair.
And shirt. Great shirt.
I'm April Brantois, and I too have tinkered for probably going on about 3 years now in WordPress, and still can't figure it out.
I'm Glenn Bennett from the software group, and do a lot with WordPress, mostly on the plugin side. I ended up as the maintainer of the podcasting plugin for WordPress, so extension/podcasting, that's on the side project, and I do for regular PHP programmers. I created a service called legitifier.com, which allows you to make a WordPress widget out of arbitrary PHP code. I'm also currently trying to put together a plugin framework based on CodeIgniter. So Windows play with CodeIgniter likes it. It'd be great to get some feedback as to whether that's a good idea.
Nice. Thank you. Where should we start tonight? Let's talk about WordCamp that just happened over the weekend. So a couple of us were there. I know I don't know if Kat's coming tonight, but Kat was there as well as John Brown. Who else from OC was up there?
I'm sitting right.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was looking at Dave. Sorry, Scott. Scott and Linda Sherman was up there as well. Linda and when you went to the sessions, you kind of knew it was going to be non-tech. It was very much business oriented, even though Mark Jaquith's stuff was tech.
There was 2 tracks
On Friday, yeah, there was a technical track and a more beginner track, but it was really focused on the day itself was supposed to be focused on business, even though there were a couple of technical sessions. Saturday was the one that was developer. Saturday's day was really developer. I mean, that's the day I got the most out of from a technical standpoint. So, and then Sunday I wasn't there for. It was long. Were you there? You were there Sunday, Scott.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was pretty cool. Matt did the state of the word, and from like 11:30 to 1.
Okay.
So we kind of took off after that. They kind of had some lightning sessions, I guess, which was pretty interesting, where people just submitted their sessions and then you voted by text. Probably one of the cooler things was the official WordPress swag booth.
Yeah.
They had like 5,000 WordPress t-shirts. It was pretty awesome. That was cool.
Yeah, the cool stuff Matt shared on the State of the Word, 22% of all new domain registrations are registering and setting up WordPress sites. So even though the number right now is about 15%, like the total amount of content coming online is growing into WordPress. The other announcement they made is if there's plugins in the repo on the codex that are not updated for 2 years, they're getting hidden and deprecated.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool. They were also talking a bunch about their big push for the rest of the year is going to be, I know responsive admin was one of they're totally going to do the Google Plus media uploader. So they're now completely aimed to totally rebuild the media uploader.
Drag and drop.
Yeah, drag and drop media.
Is that for 3.3?
That's for either 3.3 or 3.4. He wasn't sure. He was kind of non-committal.
Well, and on the slide, he actually showed the Google Plus media uploader, and somebody asked him what it's going to look like, and he said it's going to look like that. So it sounds like they're going to try to mimic.
But cool.
That's really cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, there was another really good talk by professional photojournalist. He came on right before Matt, and I almost missed his session because it was like WP at War or something. It was some really weird name, and I was like, what in the hell? But he runs a site called basetrack.org, and it was amazing. I mean, he was embedded with the 1/8th Marine Battalion and on a TED fellowship, and I mean, he was taking amazing photos. He was like posting everything up on basetrack.org, and then it was built.
We're going to get our kind of our page template file, And I can, no, I can't make it any bigger. I just is that better?
Yeah, totally did.
Well, that's the text.
That's just the font size.
So,
Tell me when.
there you go. That's good.
Good
Yeah, it's
enough?
not
Okay.
working.
So we made a template, and essentially it mimics a page, and then at the very end down here, where it says display links, we display links. And then in the admin, we go to our page for links. And we change the template file to the links snippet that we created. So when we refresh the links page here, now we get our default custom links. So far, so good? Everybody made a template page before? Okay, good. If you didn't go that route, you might have gone with the short code. So I'm going to take out that, and then we would have gone into our functions page. This is the 2011 theme, by the way. And I did just go right to the theme. I definitely recommend making a child theme instead of doing exactly what I'm doing here. So that when you update WordPress, this doesn't get copied over, which is what will happen to me. So down here, has anybody not made a shortcode before? Okay, awesome. So essentially all you do in your functions file, you say, you have this function called add shortcodes, and you say, what is the shortcode? This is what you put in the brackets in the content. And bigger.
Yeah, make that
more bigger, more awesome.
More bigger, more
Apparently when you change pages, it goes smaller.
It's smaller. Oh, let's see. Yeah, because I was looking at this page first. Okay. There.
So add.
We made it macho. That's right. There we go. Okay, so yeah, so the first argument is what the shortcode is. The second argument is what function do you call when the content sees that shortcode. So essentially, the same code that I did in here that just lists out the bookmarks, nothing fancy. This is a very simple example of why you might use this, by the way. Put in here, and in a function, always better to return than echo out, because someone might want to filter it later on. So instead of echoing out the links, I just return the links. But essentially, it's the same code, but now we're doing it as a short code. So hang on, let's make sure the page goes back to, so go back to default template. Okay, so the links aren't there anymore. But if we put in the short code we just made, if we put it in properly, update the page, we're going to get the same result. Oh, or we aren't. Did I not comment after?
I think you have to save both of those.
Oh, good thinking. Thank you for all your suggestions. Voila! With a little bit of crowdsourcing. So this is the shortcode version. Again, we're getting the same thing, we're just doing it in a different way. Now what Matt did when he was talking about this is he did it the CMS, WordPress is a CMS talk. And again, he just kind of glossed over it because it's something he did all the time when I asked him about it. He goes, no, I always do that. And it's one of those things that I thought, oh my God, why didn't I think of that years ago and use this all the time? So rather than do one method or the other, he kind of does both. So he makes a short code, like so. And in the template page, instead of doing this, what we did first, he then, in the template, just does echo. And then if you do make a short code, you can just say, do short code. What short code do you want to do? And essentially, it's like putting it in the content, but it just automates it a little bit. Okay, I'm going to try to save everything this time.
So then you've got the best of both worlds. You have the
That's
template
right.
page.
Oops, let me take this out.
And you have the ability to use the shortcut code in other places.
Yeah, this is what makes this such a great idea. Is exactly what Jeff's saying. Is what did I do wrong? Oh, I know. I didn't make this back to the. Sorry. So the links template page. So we're using the template page again. And the reason you're going to want this is because the client's going to call you and say, I need a links page.
So you make the shortcode and the template, and you have the template show the shortcode. So when the client then calls you a week later and says, I want the links on the about page too, and you're thinking, crap, I don't want to teach them how to do the templates. You can teach them how, or make a new template for the about page. You can actually go to the about page, which is, you'll see over here, it's the default template, but if I put the shortcode in, go to the about page, we also get the links, even though it's not using the links template page. So I thought that was totally cool, and I wanted to pass it along in case you didn't see that. And me being the way I am, I'm also thinking, what's the client going to call about next? They're going to call because they're going to not remember what the shortcode was. So I thought, and this hopefully it's going to work. I actually did it just a few minutes ago because I was thinking about it. So all of this code right here is going to add a button into the WYSIWYG editor. Essentially, the button's going to put the shortcode in, so they don't have to remember what the shortcode is to type it in. And I tried to find an especially obnoxious button so it'll show up, which it does not relate to. Wow! All right, so now we have this hideous purple button you'll see appeared. So let me erase this. Pretend like that wasn't there. So that's for the client. You go, wham! Right? So that wasn't something that Matt did. That was on my own design. Voila. So anyway, the concept is do the shortcode and a template, and then you have the best of both worlds, and you can do either one. So if you're in a pinch, you can drop the shortcode in fast. If you want to do the template, that's cool too. Are there any questions? Did I go too fast on that one?
What happens when the client says, can I embed the shortcode in my widget?
Add widget shortcode?
Yeah, add widget shortcode.
Yeah, it's a simple little thing you put in your functions file.
Or there's a way.
Yeah.
Mr. Vasquez will tell you that. So yeah, we can make this even better if we wanted to, and get a less obnoxious button. It's always better to have a button that actually kind of means something about what you're dropping in there. So anyway, like I said, it was just a little nugget I saw in San Diego, and I wanted to pass it along because I thought it was awesome. I've been using it a bunch lately, so if it helps you, wonderful. If not, I don't know what to tell you. There are no questions, correct? There can be questions. I'm not implying. There are no questions.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
All right. You have your choice of the easy button or the bullshit button. That actually was very easy. Thank you, Justin. You bet. I did forget to make an announcement. If anybody wants a beer, they're in the fridge. You're welcome to them. I was last minute, so I didn't bring anything out to the table. But does anybody want a beer?
Yeah.
Yes, one. I will get them during the next presentation. 2, 3.
No, that's one.
Oh, just one. No. You want 2, and there's 3.
Oh, okay, okay. Same difference. Since I'm gone.
I'll give you 5. All right. Brandon John is on the way, so we will save you time for Anton. You ready? In about 5 minutes. All right.
You and I, Steve?
What's that?
You want to do
Yeah.
ours? All right.
Sure. So let's talk about the playground site that we've set up and that we're playing with. So as everybody aware that we set up a multi-user site for the group that you're welcome to go in and sign up and have an account and play and install plugins and themes, and so this came from an idea. Actually, let's go back to the first one. Let me backtrack. Is there anybody in the room that's not part of the Facebook group? Yes. All right. So we'll make sure you get added to the Facebook group. Send me a request on Facebook, and we'll add you to the Facebook group. So the Facebook group is very active, and something that came out of the Facebook group was the idea of setting up a multi-user site as sort of we don't know what it's going to be yet, as a headache.
So we did that. The URL changed to make it legal. So it's now ocwp.org. So this is our multi-user site. We have not. There is no organization to this yet. We don't know what this is going to be. There have been lots of wonderful suggestions, and I'm going to get to it in my spare time.
There's an awesome blog on there.
I heard there was an awesome blog on here. I think it's called Awesome.
I think Awesome is open source.
Who's moderating the comments?
So who's moderating the comments? Nobody.
Because I noticed I put in a comment and it hadn't been
The super admins on the site are myself and John and Brandon. Sorry, myself and I'm thinking John Brown. Myself and Jason and Brandon are the super admins on the site. So if you want anything added to the site, plugin wise, theme wise, let us know on the Facebook group. We've been adding stuff as we go. We've been killing stuff as we go as well. So we had a couple of plugins and themes that we tried to activate that didn't work, so we just took them out. We're not going to spend time debugging or figuring out what's going wrong. We'll just see what works. If it doesn't, we'll kill it and we'll move on to the next plugin. So we actually do have a pretty good set of plugins and themes going already. Some people have donated some premium themes that we put in there. And again, this is really just meant as a place to play and get familiar with WordPress and play around if you don't have this access to this stuff already.
Yeah, if you make a production website on this,
don't do that.
Don't do that.
It's not an if. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
This stuff does change. This site will continue to crash as we
changed the domain name.
Yes.
No, we didn't hear. We
Yes.
just changed the domain name. Sorry.
Yes. So don't expect good SEO here. It's not going to happen. This will just continue to change and grow. So anyway, with that, the reason we want to talk about this tonight is we're trying to figure out what to do with this site. Are we going to be aggregating content to the front page? That's come up on the group. What is this site going to be? So,
and if so, how do we aggregate that stuff?
Absolutely.
The aggregation piece, and that's something that Jeff Besker brought up. And I plus one that. I think that's a good idea. And I think we can safely aggregate content using any number of different plugins. I've offered one up for that purpose, but we can safely do it as long as we attribute the original source, and I don't think it's going to impact anyone else's site.
We're talking about aggregating content from external sites or from
From member sites.
Okay.
Yeah, from member sites. I know that most of us that have our own WordPress sites, we write our own blog content, and some of it may be of use to other users within the group. So I don't think it's a bad idea.
Okay. Are there any plugins that anybody's using for actually aggregating content from
WP Turbo.
WP Turbo does that?
I use that for the dating site that I run.
All right,
It works well.
I'll install it during the next presentation. Well, with Feed WordPress though,
I don't know how well that would work.
Correct me if I'm wrong. So WP Turbo is that actually doing a database call or is it pulling in through an RSS feed?
It's pulling in through an RSS feed.
Okay.
So it's very similar to Feed WordPress.
Mm-hmm.
It's a premium plugin. There's a lot more that you can do with it. It's probably overkill, but it does feed in through RSS.
So I didn't get into this part of the discussion on the group today, but kind of what I wanted to pose to the group as a development question is: has anybody tackled this on a multi-user site, trying to actually do a database call from from within a site, so that the top level site actually pulls in content, true content from the child sites?
Yeah, we do that.
Are you using a plugin or did you write custom? That's why I'm asking.
But I'm wondering if it's not something like if we shouldn't build something that's more like if that's the road we want to go down, if we shouldn't build something that's basically like WordPress.com, something that pulls in, a post from around the network or whatever. I mean, the easiest way to do it, honestly, is to make it a buddy post site because it has that activity stream.
Mm-hmm.
So you can pull that information. We already had one of those, and we used it.
We did.
So I'm not suggesting that.
Good.
But that was a different time in our history.
It was 6 months ago.
It's not because it was a buddy press site that it didn't work.
What are we going to do with this site that we don't do with Facebook?
Yeah.
That's why I don't.
It's public. That's the only thing I'm thinking.
No, I'd rather use website than Facebook. I'd rather use
Right.
anything than Facebook.
Well, no, but Facebook's good. Facebook has some value there where there's already tools that are available that let you, like check messages on your phone or something like that, where you get that, kind of threaded type discussion. But the way I was thinking it is that stuff kind of bubbles up. And when something bubbles up and you get like 20, 30 comments on it, it's like, whoa, let's stop for a second. Let's get 2 or 3 of you guys together, co-author a post or something, and throw it up on the website. That's what that's what I'm thinking. But I don't know if that's something that you guys are even interested in doing or anything like that, or if there's any value to that for,
I think there's a couple things I see as possibly being able to do with it, and one of them is what Brandon did, where he's going to be talking about a subject, and he's written a post on the site about that.
Right.
And it would be great for demos and things like that. Like, hey, check out this plugin. I've installed it right here. It's in a safe environment. It's not on my blog or on my production environment. It's just a sandbox or a playground, and I can demo it. We can all hash it out. That's one thing. But another thing that might happen is maybe this is a place where we can collaborate on some new functionality, a new plugin or something, and do some work and actually contribute something back to the community as a result.
That's kind of what I was getting at with this idea of a true content aggregation plugin for a multi-user site. There aren't any good ones out there. I've tried several of them and they do not work. A lot of them that used to exist during the WPMU days aren't really relevant anymore. They're dated. They're antiquated. It's not an easy task when you're querying the other databases in your multi-site. It is a challenge, but you're right. If we had something, if we sort of co-authored something with the group, there's no reason we can't release that into the public domain.
Well, those users are users in the network.
They
site.
Absolutely are.
So they could potentially be authors that could write to the site, and then someone who has some authority could actually go in there and say, I approve, it shows up on the front page.
So let me tell you where we've dealt with problems in the past. Okay. and I'm opening this up for discussion with the group. It's a couple of different strategies you deal with when you're pulling in content from subsites. One of the easiest ways to do it is use a little switch to blog call. So when you're pulling in content, you're actually going out and you're querying the other databases, you're finding the most recent content, you do a switch to blog call, you use your normal loop calls, and then you switch back to the main blog. That's not a scalable solution. So as we grow and grow, and we now have 100 blogs on the site, we're going to run into problems very fast with that solution. So what we've done in the past with these kinds of things is we've actually pre-rendered that content. So we'll write it out to an XML file, or write it out to a separate database where it's actually tracking the latest content. So you're not querying all of those tables within the multi-site. Because as you have, let's say we now have 100 sites on a multi-site, that's 800 tables. So those queries get very slow, very fast. So that's really the challenge you face is a scalability issue. So you either query as you go, or you pre-render those queries, and sort of the way we do it on Pajamas Media is we actually, as the sub-authors are posting stuff, we're actually writing out to a whole separate database table that we have. So as they make edits, we say, okay, there's been an update to this post, and we know that in a whole separate table. So we may be able to borrow some of that code for this plugin.
What if we took the whole idea of a sub-site and just have that just be the place where people play, and then the actual site is just a whole bunch of multi-authors that are on the main site?
We could do that, but if Brandon's going to be screwing up like this. No, this is actually what we want. I mean, what we want is we want a separate blog like this, and then bubble this content up to the main site. We want it gathered. I mean, that's really ideally the way we want to go about this. Yeah.
What you've been talking about up to this point is pulling the information.
Mm-hmm.
What about swapping that around and doing a push?
And that
I know that there's a hook you can get where once you publish a post, you can go into some code, and that can make a copy of it as a draft in the main site. And then one of the admins could
take those drafts and say, okay, yeah, this one's good. We'll make that live on the main site. Then there's no polling.
That's kind of similar. I think we're saying the same thing. It's kind of similar to what we're doing on the Pajamas Media site. Is as the authors within the child sites are editing or creating content, we're actually pushing that into a database table. So we're pushing those references in, and that's where we're saving everything. I think we're saying the same thing.
Well, I wasn't thinking of using a new table. Just copy it in as a post on the main
But
site.
then you've got this redundant data everywhere, and if they make a change, then you've got that's and I've gone down that road before, so that now you've got to keep those two posts in sync. So let's say Brandon makes this post, we push it to the main site. Okay, now he goes in and he adds his aside right here. Now we've got things that are out of sync, or we push an update, or
then rather than pushing the full content, you could use some post metadata to refer back to
you push a
Brandon's site.
reference.
And then when you render that on the main site, you can pull it from Brandon's blog.
Absolutely. And again, I think we're saying very similar things the way we're going about it.
It's doable.
It's definitely doable, and it's not really all that time consuming. But I do think there's a need for this plugin because what we're talking about, we've dealt with. I'm looking at Kelly, but she's not looking at me. We've dealt with on several different kinds of projects and there's really no good public solution for this. I'll get it.
So another thing that I think we could use the site for is, I mentioned it on Facebook, is just simply a listing of all of the people who have member sites on ocwp.org.
And
so that we
those
can,
types of
I can
things.
find Brandon's awesome blog.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love a way for everybody who has. I'd really like it if there was a way to just have the multi-user site do an RSS pull of, say, the excerpts of anybody who signs up, so that way I can know I've got one place to aggregate OCWP friends.
Right.
And I don't have to do any manual lifting.
That's why I was thinking like an all-top type of thing where it's like that, just a list of blog posts.
So here's the other missing, and I may have missed your comment. Here's the other missing feature. The missing feature of that is, let's say I set up a site just to play. I make a post, but I really don't want that bubbling up to the top yet. I'm just in a sandbox mode. There should be something that's set within the body of the post of the edit screen that says, yes, I want this to be available.
You can publish it privately, right?
You could, but then that comes with other limitations.
I'd rather see a checkbox. If that's checked, then it gets pushed out potentially to the main site.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Again, I think it's a great discussion that we don't have to solve all tonight. But if you have ideas, post them to the Facebook group. Let's solve this. And actually, I think it would be really cool to publish a plugin from the group and help put us on the map. I think that would be really fun.
What about also using the site as like a beta testing, or even, I mean, I don't know if we want to push it as far as doing like nightly builds, but at least getting the beta testing out there so we could do bug reporting and stuff like that.
Beta testing for what?
For the core. Like, just whenever they release a beta or an RC or whatever.
I think the only problem with doing it on this site would be that, and Matt said this at his State of the Word, he said that they're really not paying enough attention to the multi-user, multi-author blogs. Yeah, he said that when that's just not a focus, and he's not really confident in endorsing it. So I think for beta testing, this may show more flaws than a typical single-user site experience.
There's no reason we can't set up a dev area within this space. Set up a whole separate site that is a dev area.
That's not multi-user.
No, I'm actually thinking we can clone this. When I set this up, I already have a Git repository for this. That I'm happy to share with the group if you guys want, if you want this. But there's a Git repository, so we could pull this to a separate space and have a beta area as new.
Beta.ocwp.org.
Yeah, I mean, as new things come out for WordPress, there's no reason we can't do that.
Or it's like theme testing too.
We already did one of that. What was the theme of the plugin that crashed immediately?
Oh, RS.
Yeah.
RS was one of them. I think there was another one also.
There was a
RS. There was something in the widgets.
Yeah, there was a plugin that was doing it too, and whatever it was, I just went in and nuked it and nuked all the files, and we were done. We were done.
Is anybody on the theme testing team for WordPress or plugin testing? I was saying, I mean, we could use. I was typing a join.
I think there might be another folder.
It's just a live environment to test. I don't know.
Cool. We are open to ideas. I mean, like I said, I mean, this was just sort of set up as an idea. So this is not fully formed. It's just a sandbox, just a playground right now. So we're open to do whatever.
Rules, no nothing.
Yeah.
We're just winging it.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've worked with a multi-site, so it's kind of fun for me to go in there and start digging around in there, and seeing how it works and all that sort of thing. So
if anybody wants to moderate comments,
actually, we have to have a moderator.
Actually, I turned it off. I turned off moderation on the main site today. And if you set up your own, if you set up your own site, you have the option to turn off moderation. So.
Actually, you're the one that has to moderate.
Yeah. I'm not interested in moderating comments, so like I said, if you don't know how to turn off moderation, I'm in
you're in the wrong meeting then,
yeah.
right?
But I thought I'd mention it. Underneath discussion, I turned off this checkbox. This one here, the comment author must have previously have an approved comment. So I turned it off, so comments are now free form on the main site. Yeah. I think I have a Keysmet set up, so we should be good. What else? Anything else? Yeah, if you don't have an account here or a site here, you can anybody's free to go in and sign up. So I think we're up to 30 sites already on this. So.
Is there a directory on the site?
Well, that was the other thing. Besides post, doing a member directory is a good idea.
Actually, on all the WordCamp sites, they list all the people, all the attendees. How do you do that? Like, is there a plugin that does that, or is it?
Oh.
It's the ticketing plugin.
Is there a plugin for that?
Well, it's part of the ticketing feature. The ticketing feature of WordCamp sites.
Okay. When you set up a WordCamp site, do they give you a set of tools?
You become the tool at some point.
I understand that. That's why I was hesitant in asking the question.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know. It's a softball. All right.
But there's some that you use on your site that we could, incorporate into this, or is there some?
When we go to the Rock Harbor site, they have a couple different sites, right, for different campuses, and we aggregate that all to the homepage, and it's on a post by post basis, so you can say I want this on the main site or not. And it's I don't know, it's not the best optimized thing. I mean that functionality, there's just no way without doing like super query to do it, but it works. I mean, I don't think you're going to get a ton of traffic to the site, so I mean, doing a simple aggregation page is not required.
I had W3 Total Cache turned on, and it would immediately cause some problems. I actually took it out for now, so it may have been a conflict with another plugin, but like I said, we're not doing any beta testing on site.
Yeah,
if a plugin's causing a problem, I'm just nuking it. Yeah. Same thing with themes. I'm not interested in testing.
You just make each site a link.
What's that?
Make each of our sites a link.
Are you talking about for the member thing? Yeah. Actually, the member stuff is not, it shouldn't be that tough to do. I think if we, there is a way to just list out the sites that are there. But again, we may want to make that more selective if people are in sandbox mode. So we may have to figure that one out as well.
Include me or don't include me.
Yeah.
We can do a quick setting for that.
Yeah.
And list the person's name. So they have their site name.
Right. No, list what they list it as awesomeness or whatever.
You can write my awesome account. You can write a really quick plugin that adds an admin options page and then network enable it on everybody so they all get the same admin options.
That'd be great. When are you gonna have that to us?
I didn't say I could. I said
Need a release candidate by the time you're back.
You have about 5 hours in the plane.
All right, cool. Like I said, if, any ideas, shoot them up to the group, and we'll.
Is that on GitHub or Beanstalk or something like that?
This is actually on Assembla.
Is it public? Like, can people check it out and play with it? Or?
The Assembla space is not public, and I'm a little afraid to do that because we're using some premium themes that people have donated.
Yeah.
Donated
right.
to the site. So yeah, but I'm happy to give Git access to anybody that wants it. That's curious. By the way, when you are updating stuff in here, I'm talking to the super admins first. Just let me know so I can do a Git push from the server back to the. Back to okay, that's fine. Just let me know.
I will tell you now.
Just displays awesome.
I added Blackbird Pie, the Twitter one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you look at my awesome page, why awesome?
Why awesome?
Why wouldn't you?
Why awesome?
You'll see why awesome.
It's called what? Blackbird Pie.
That one?
Yeah.
Yeah. It lets you embed some tweets. It's really sick.
Yeah. It adds a little click button just like that.
It's got everything. It's got all the Twitter functionality.
Awesome.
What's the name of that one?
Blackbird Pie.
But that's already available in. I mean, once we're adding plugins at the network level, so once they're there, you can activate them on your own sandbox site.
We added the custom CSS. I network activated that one. So it's
Okay. Cool. Excellent. Anything else? Anything else?
Can there be a list of the plugins that are on the site?
Actually, if you make a site and go to plugins, they're already there. So this is, I mean, here's just a quick list, a quick snapshot of what's there. But this is also available within your site. So anything we add at the network level, it just becomes instantly available. You have to activate it. So they're activated on a per site basis.
Okay.
But yeah, they're all there for you. Themes are the same.
Regarding themes, do we have the ability, or is there any thought on being able to upload our own themes for our own sites on the network?
We added a CSS editor today, but I don't know about like.
Just send if you want something, just send it to us.
What am I doing here, right?
I
Here for
do
days.
use Genesis on there, and I'd like to add a child theme.
Okay.
So, that's all I was curious about. So I'll get with John and
Jason. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Alex, I have the same needs.
And we'll,
What's up, John?
I said I have the exact same needs, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
we'll make it happen. Super admin.
Is John a super admin as well? Oh, he is.
I'm a
There's
super
4
admin.
super admins now. All right.
Maybe just all these super admins. Just one day.
Can we add a filter to
And
change super admins?
everyone but you.
Sorry, Alex, it requires flip-flops and facial hair. Can't do it.
All right, I think we'll end there. But like I said, any suggestions, just put them on the Facebook group and we'll figure this thing out. You ready? All right. Anton is going to talk about responsive.
Yeah,
A little bit. CSS3. For those of you who didn't hear at the beginning, there were a couple panels on this at WordCamp San Francisco, and actually there was a panel on this at WordCamp San Diego as well. So this is becoming a pretty hot topic: responsive design, CSS3. The takeaway I took from the CSS3 panel was do not use Internet Explorer. So.
I got that.
I kind of knew it just reinforced that.
Yeah,
It's pretty much
to San Francisco.
Yeah, change the guard.
I didn't what?
Change the guard.
Oh, sorry. I think that's
A little bit of both.
that's all right.
Okay, so yeah, like Steve was saying, pretty much the responsive web design became a hot topic, and it actually started with this little article here in a list apart, published May 25 of last year, where the guy pretty much explains his reasoning behind the kind of having everything flexible and being able to, based on the size of your browser, to actually change. And if you look, they go in a theory of these flexible grids and fluid grids, and fluid images and fluid layouts, where you see the images, they're actually changing their sizes. Not only the text and the divs and everything, the images too. And it's really simple to create that by actually, when you insert your image, when you put the image tag in HTML, you don't add width or height. Everything else, everything is driven through CSS. That's how everything it's kind of designed. So basically, this is how it all started. The guy showed this little page and actually showed the example, and kind of like all hell broke loose from that day. And he actually wrote this little book here, Responsible Web Design. It's like $9. I still haven't purchased it. It's on my to-do list, but everybody raves about it. So then I found this other website. It's Media Queries, and it's really kind of nice the way it's spelled. It's mediaquery.es. And basically, it's like an aggregation of pages that use this media queries. And so if you create your own website that does this, when it's ready, just send it out there and might get published. And basically, this first one here, I kind of put it by popularity. Sorry, by popularity. This is one website that pretty much caught everybody's eye. And look at what's happening with the layout. All of a sudden, from a 4-column became a 2-column, and the more you squeeze it in, it's going to become a 1-column. So all this, it's kind of done only through CSS. It's reformats the sizes of the layout and everything. And
does that mean it will also adjust to mobile?
Yes. That's actually where the big thing is, and where everybody's like so excited about it, because you design your website, you make it look the way you want it on the browsers, right? And then at the end, you add those little things, the media queries, in which you pretty much repuzzle everything into the way you want it. And this one here has a little good example.
Can I ask you a real quick question? I'm
Yes.
not a programmer.
Yeah, just go ahead and ask questions.
I work for a company, matter of fact, we're looking for a couple of project-based WordPress program web developers. If anybody here is available to work. But this is my question, because I'm not a technical person, but I was sitting with the web developer, individual claims to the WordPress web developer yesterday. And I asked him, I said, well, once we convert all our PSCs over to WordPress, what do we do about our mobile strategy? He goes, oh, well, you need to completely redesign all your content for a web mobile environment. So this would be able to replace that.
Somewhat, to some extent. The problem with this is, if you have a website that has a ton of images and a ton of stuff that's going to be loaded, right? When you load it on the mobile, even if stuff doesn't show through those CSS queries, because you can hide stuff through them, that web page is still going to be loaded. So if you have like a 3 meg web page, you'll be waiting a long time on this phone to load a 3 meg page. That's the biggest drawback. There are ways to
do that, and kind of like there's some JavaScript out there that would allow you to create a separate page that has less images, and it kind of like everything is optimized, so everything works faster. But that's a little bit of a work, because basically think about it this way: you have this image right here. When in full size, probably it's like 300 pixels by 100 pixels, right, or 300 by 350. And when you shrunk it like this to display it on a mobile device, it's like a 50 by 50. You're still going to load that 350 by 300 image to display it as a 50 by 50. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Other than that, yes, you can really easily create that one, repuzzle everything down, and you can say, yes, I have a mobile device ready website, So it all depends on how much information do you display and all that.
What's the name of that?
This one?
The platform you call it Media Queries?
Yeah, it's a feature of the new CSS3, which is Media Queries.
It's still in WordPress and it's still extra.
Yeah, it's just this.
What's the name of the article?
This one, it's responsive web design. Ethan Marcotte, that's his name, and he's the one that kind of started this whole thing. Yeah, you want to.
I was going to say, I feel like we're still in a transition phase where this isn't quite ready for prime time yet. It's there, if somebody's on a modern browser, this is going to be great, but you still have to look at the percentages of the people that are using IE 8 or less, and that's
You do not.
I don't, but my clients do. So
you do not.
yeah,
You know, this is the next thing I wanted to
Go
talk
for it.
about. Basically, the nice part is you create this website to work on IE6 even, right? And you don't care. You don't care. Nobody's going to have IE6 on a mobile phone. Nobody's going to try to resize this web browser to 400 width. And you don't care about that person pretty much. You don't care about the IE6, IE7, even IE9. All the mobile browsers are supported by this. If you look here, this is a really nice website, caniuse.com, and actually it came up last few days in the Facebook. Right, and I've seen it. And basically it shows you where all these are supported. So IE6, IE7, IE8 do not support the media queries. I just put here search for media, and it returns everything that's supported. So 9 and 10 supposedly do it. Firefox, all of it supports it. Safari 3.2 has a partial support, but for the iOS, everything is fully supported. And then Chrome and Opera fully support this. So basically, it will work. And you start by designing it to work for IE6 if you want to, and then add the media queries at the end to support the mobile devices. IE6 is not even going to care about all those things extra added at the end. It's going to ignore them completely. So you're not going to break the website. So basically, all the stuff that you want to find, that you need to know about them, it's on this W3 website, w3.org. It gives you the syntax, the media queries, what can you use, and gives you a lot of examples here. So it's really easy to figure out what you need to. Now, there are two big things that you got to think about before you actually start designing your website and laying out the CSS and all that stuff. First is to make it modular. And basically, they have this nice example here where they show the header as a box, navigation as a box, context sidebar, and footer. And now, when you start adding the media queries, you need to figure out a way to lay out this puzzle so it works nicely on a mobile device or anything else. So this is probably the hardest part, kind of building everything in this nice container. So if you use HTML5, use the proper syntax, so everything would fall into place. So basically, that's one of the hardest things. The other one that I found kind of really, really bad and out there was, where was it? Was the resolutions, the layouts and the resolution that they were recommending. So basically, what I found online was that everybody's saying to do the jumps for pretty much the first one would be a 1200 DPI. When you go lower than 1200 DPI, then you can have a change. Then at 900, then at 768, at 600, 480, and 320. So those are kind of like where they recommend those jumps. So I'm like, okay, I tried to look into that a little bit, and I found this little article here with popular smartphone and tablet resolutions. So this guy pretty much researched all of them and put them out here, and you can look at all that stuff. So what I did, programmer and me, and the 3D guy that I am, just got all that data, and I brought in this program. It's called 3D Studio Max. It's for 3D animation and 3D graphics. So I just built this little graphic where each rectangle here, it's an actual device in that list. And I just built this whole thing so I can see what's happening. So you see, if you look from the top, basically the blue ones are the devices on the horizontal, the other ones on the vertical. So you kind of see where the big steps are. So if you look from the side, see that there would be a big step here, and this is the smallest resolution. That's the I've changed the well, basically this is the 320 pixels, right? This is the no, actually the 240. Yeah, that's the 240 because you have the smallest devices that will be a 320 by 240, and this is the first step. And then the next step up, it's the 320, and then you have these little devices here that go a little bit higher up than that, and you want to get those in too. So my first thought would be to stop in there, and this is the first big jump, and it's the 480. That's the first width, kind of like the minimum width that I'm going to deal with. Then if you go, you see there are a few other devices here, but I'm not going to care about them. I'm going to go into the next step up, and I'm actually not going to step at this. This is the 800. I'm not going to step right at the 800 because there are a few of them that are just above it, and I want to encompass those two. So the next step that I found, it's 854. That was the one that I kind of like. And then goes to the highest one, that's 1024 for the mobile devices. And then it's up to you what you want to do for actual browsers on the screen, you know. So those are the steps that I found: the 480, the 640, 854, and 1000.
Yeah, real slow.
Okay, so 480, 640, 854, and 1024, and that's just my own research and stuff. So
have you done any testing with those sizes?
yes. I actually not on actual devices, but I build my own website based on those.
Okay.
You know, so basically this is my website, and it's the first time I've tried to use media queries. So it's not fully done yet, but you can see it if I scroll it down. Actually, let me close this. Just slowing my browser down. So basically, the first step that I've done, it's 1024, and you see what's happening. This box, the hello box, kind of got shrunk a little bit. This other one shrunk a little bit too, because I wanted this layout where I have one box aligned to the left, one box aligned to the right, and when you kind of like keep that separation between them, and then when they get to close at 1024, it resizes them a little bit. Now the next step down, it's at, I believe it was at 640. And now what I did, I kind of moved them all centered and moved them down. So I have the logo, that hello box, and then pretty much everything the same way like I had it before, but it's full width. And the next step down, it's at 480, where I'm actually gonna do pretty big changes here. I'm gonna remove that big hello box because on a mobile device, nobody needs to see that big hello there. They just need the information, right? If you noticed, I had a little Twitter icon here. I just removed that one too. Maybe I should put it in. And the other big thing I've done, I've transformed it from a 2-column layout, the way it was before, so with who I am and the web services. Then it became a 1-column, and I moved the web services below. So basically everything is just in a linear fashion right now. So that was my little kind of take on this.